Welcome to my new show, You Throughout the Years. Here, we will have conversations with ordinary persons like you and me. Everyone has a story, either good or bad, funny or sad. So come and reminisce with us as we find out how these years have shaped our lives. And I'm so excited to have a inspiring young lady. I'm blessed to know her. This wonderful name is Z, a unique name, but a cute name. Z, can you introduce yourself to us?
Yes, hello. I'm so happy to be here with Rochelle, and I'm Z. I'm also known as Mommy on Deck here on YouTube, and I've been making videos, making content for quite some time now, and Rochelle is one of the content creators that I know very well, and I'm just happy to be here and share my experience with you guys.
I'm so happy she agreed to do it because she is very busy and she have a noble profession. So you will learn about that some more. So I know her time is valuable. So we are going to start with, what is the earliest age you can remember, Z?
Earliest age. I think the earliest age I can remember, I think I was about 6 or 7 years old, and my dad had taken me. I was living in the Bronx in New York, and my dad had taken me to Jamaica to visit, to Jamaica, West Indies. And I remember that it was a day we came back, and I was learning how to speak patois, like broken English. And I remember that I was jumping on a bed. I don't know which house I was in, but I just remember jumping on a bed and just laughing and just practicing my patois. And I did that day. I don't know why, but that's just the only thing that I can remember from when I was so small.
Oh, okay. So 6 or 7. So did your family tell you when you started to walk or talk?
They may have. I don't really remember, but I know that I was basically average in terms of I didn't start walking early or too late. I was just basically right on time with walking and talking.
Okay. Can you remember or feel that one or two around there that you became aware of, this is mommy, this is daddy?
Honestly, I don't remember. I don't remember that far back when I was a toddler. But I know that my mom was mostly present and my dad was like traveling back and forth a lot. So I only saw him once in a while. So I'm pretty sure that I recognized my mom during that time, that young age. But I don't remember like what age I started saying mama, dada, those kind of things. Like I said, the earliest memory that I have is when I was like 6 or 7, so I have no idea. I've seen pictures of myself earlier than that, but I have no idea like what I was into, what I was doing, and things like that.
Oh, okay. I can understand. As you get older, you're even remembering 5 is a problem. The mind is not working with you. So that's understandable. So then we will go into your childhood from say 4 to 11. What attitude did Z have as a child, and your behavior? As you heard, she is part Jamaican, a Caribbean girl. So what was your attitude at that time?
I would say that my mom was pretty strict, and she was, she wanted me to focus on school and my education. And actually, I remember that from the earlier days, I used to, I wanted to be a teacher from when I was a kid. And I used to take my dolls and my teddy bears, and I used to line them up, and I used to play school with my cousins and my other family members when they came over. And I remember that no matter what, I always had to be the teacher. And so anytime somebody else wanted to be a teacher, I was like, no, I don't want to play. I don't want to play anymore because I want to be the teacher. And I know that from then I wanted to be a teacher from that young age. And also attitude-wise, I mean, I was a pretty calm kid, funny, loving. I didn't really get into a lot of trouble. I was just more like a bookworm, like to read, like to explore different things, like to research. Back then, we didn't really have like the World Wide Web and all that. So
Yeah.
I'm not that old, but I'm about to be 40. Back then, we basically had like encyclopedias, and so you would go to the encyclopedia and find a different topic. They had different topics for each, encyclopedia book. So I would like to research and look up things that I didn't know much about. And so I was really a bookworm, and I like to play with my friends, my family, ride bikes, skateboard. I mean, not skateboard, roller skate, things like that. Because actually, when I was between those ages of 4 and 11, I actually moved to Florida to live with my grandparents and my aunt, and my uncle, and my cousin. So there, what we did, we went swimming, we went bike riding, we went skating, and so we spent most of our time outdoors and just playing, games in the neighborhood.
Okay, so a typical childhood. Well, in this time, you're growing up, you have your parents or even a one parent, as a lot of us have. So, how was your mother or father as a child? Were they understanding as you grow up, and when you have different views as a child, were they acceptive of your having your own voice?
Mhm. So there was a transition from me living with my mom to me living with my other family members in Florida. So I went from New York to Florida. So I can say, like, during those years, I was basically raised by my aunt, my uncle, my grandparents. And so they were pretty open and pretty accepting. I mean, I didn't have any, views that were like out of line with what they already believed, a Christian family, Caribbean family, and basically I just played by the rules. So I didn't really have any views that were, something to be questioned or controversial. But I remember being very inquisitive, always asking questions about everything, and I remember them always using that word to describe me. Like, she's very inquisitive. Like, I was always asking, why this, why that, how come this, how come that. So I remember always asking questions, and I remember that, my aunt would definitely try to answer those questions for me. Even if she didn't have the answer, she would try in some way to explain to me whatever I was trying to figure out. And so that's why I said, I did a lot of research. I was looking up things a lot because I had so many questions about the world, and so I had a lot of questions, but I didn't really have that many opinions as I was growing up. I was just basically trying to explore everything and kind of, make up my mind about things that I was seeing and just, in that age of exploration.
Okay. And yes, that is a time that we as children we have a lot of questions because everything is new for us, so we want to learn. We learn at that age. You moved to Florida. So how did that move impact your life as a child? Because it's not like just moving down the road, it's a whole state.
So that was the most challenging part of my childhood, because when I started living in Florida with my aunt, my uncle, and my cousin, my grandparents, it was because my mom was going through some changes in life and she wasn't able to take care of me at that time. So I started living with them, and of course I moved to Florida. So it was a whole new world. Of course, very not busy like New York. It was very slow paced and different type of atmosphere. Even in going to school, like I was like, my cousin and I were like the 3 African American students in the school. It was mostly white students in the school, so that's something that I wasn't used to. They always would ask questions about, like why is your skin color like that, and just different questions that they would ask that I was just like, I don't know. This is how I was born. So it was different going to school with different types of there was no diversity really, and
And
the
and
impact.
that, and what year were you getting questions like this?
I would say fourth, fifth grade.
That is surprising that in the 90s people were still asking about skin color.
Mhm.
So that was surprising.
Yeah, yeah, they were, and I think it's because, in that setting, there were not that many blacks in the neighborhood, around, so it was not a familiar thing for those particular children.
Mhm.
Even, different treatment from the teachers, like, I remember one year we were doing like the typical, like, building gingerbread houses around Christmas time, and I remember the teacher saying, to the students, there's not only Christmas, there's other holidays, there's like Kwanzaa. And then the teacher asked me if I celebrate Kwanzaa, and I was like, I don't know what that is. So for me, and coming from a Christian family, we didn't celebrate Kwanzaa, but I think because I was black, she was associating that with Kwanzaa and saying, oh, maybe she celebrates that. And so I celebrated Christmas like the rest of them, but I think that because of my skin color, she was assuming something else during that time. And then also the other impact is, again, I wasn't raised during that period of time. I wasn't with my mother, and so my aunt was basically my mother figure, right? And so in school, when Mother's Day would come around and certain holidays, I would not feel included because I felt like my mother wasn't around. I had lost communication with her for all that time. It was a very difficult time for me in that space because I didn't have that connection with my own mother, even though my aunt loved me to death, loved me so much, right? And she was always there for me and she was very supportive, but there's nothing like having your actual, mother, right? And so I was young when I was separated from her and I didn't really know much about her. So it's always those questions like, does she remember me? Is she thinking about me? Like, I wonder what she's doing right now. I wonder if she's ever going to come and get me or come and see me. So that was a difficult time for me in my life.
Mm. I can understand the type of trauma because you suddenly cannot live with your mother and you have to go in a new environment, and then you have people asking you about your skin when you came from a place that had everyone who looks like you. How did all of this impact your life, home life, and school?
I tried to make the best of it. I tried to make the best of it, stay positive. There were times when I was emotional about it in school and also at home. But again, I just tried to make the best of it and push through the situation. It wasn't easy, but eventually my mom did come back for me and I did move back to New York. And that was a whole other experience because, I was older then and things were different than I expected them to be.
Oh, okay. So you're going out of your childhood now and you're going into your teenage. This is a time of trying to know who is Z,
Yeah.
trying to find out what you like and what you do not like, even who you like and do not like, and finding your interests in life. So, what did Z do in this time of your say 12 to 19, the whole teenage?
Okay, so in my teenage years, yeah, I went to school. I did well in school. I remember being really interested in science because I feel like I had some teachers that really made me want to learn more about science. And I remember up to 19, so I went to college for teaching around that time, and pursued I had a major in education. I'm sorry, I had a major in English and I had a minor in journalism. So at that time, I kind of thought that I knew I wanted to be a teacher, but I wanted to explore like journalism, kind of like being like a news reporter type thing. But as I studied it more, I realized that that's not what I really ultimately wanted to do, but I still enjoyed the courses. So I stuck with that as my minor, and I was just going to school to study to be a teacher And I mean, I like to listen to music. I like to, hang out with friends, typical teen things. I learned how to drive when I was about 16. At that point, when I was living with my mom, I was back in Connecticut at that time, and so, she would give me lessons here and there, and I would learn little by little. I finally started driving, so I was driving from an early age, and I was working. I remember just following, like kind of like in her footsteps, the typical Jamaican parent that has like all these jobs. So I would have like my main job, my side hustle, and I would just
Yeah.
working, go to school. And my teenage year was pretty much that: working, going to school. That was really all I really focused on.
Well, that sounds wonderful. As a teenager, you're you're working. You know the importance of getting a job, saving money, and things. So you did not get in no type of trouble or do anything that could jeopardize your chances for a good life.
No, I wish I had a juicy story to tell, but honestly, I was a good kid. I was really a good kid. I didn't like sneak out of the house or like do all these things. I was typically just generally a good kid. I was scared to get in trouble because actually when I was in back in Florida, we went on a school trip. I forgot to mention that. This is why I was scared to get in trouble because I had an older sister, older brother who got in trouble all the time. They were into a lot of things, but me, I was scared to get in trouble because when I was in elementary school, they took us on a trip to a prison. I never forget that. They took us on a trip to a prison. It was all female prison. And when we went there, it just shook me. It just shook me. I don't know why those people were in there, but those ladies were like banging their head against it was all glass, so you could just see them, and they were all like there, all the prisoners. And they took us there on a trip. I don't know why. I don't know what the thought process was, but when I left there, I said, okay, that's enough for me to see. I said, I'm not gonna ever get myself in trouble. I never want to get arrested. I never want to do anything bad. I don't want to be next to somebody who's gonna get arrested. I don't want to be associated. I was like, this is it. I'm walking a straight line because that thing scared me straight. And it's not even like I was like being a bad kid. I just was on this trip, and this is what maybe there were some other students who really needed to like get that shake up, but I got that shake up. And so for me, going through even college, like I was not the type that was gonna like try to get in trouble and go crazy. I was just taking it easy, trying to stay out of trouble, stay under the radar. That was me.
Okay. And yes, some people get scared even when they're not doing anything wrong, but it always stays in your heart. So you made sure that you, Z, was,
Yep.
yeah, I can be good for the rest of my life. You have siblings?
Yes, I do. I have siblings on my mom's side and on my dad's side. So I have several sisters, several brothers. I'm like the middle child of it all. So I have like, let's see, I have two sisters on my, no, three sisters on my mom's side. There's two brothers. And then I have two brothers and two sisters on my dad's side. So I have a lot of siblings. Big family.
Okay. And did you enjoy having siblings?
Yes. Having siblings is awesome. Right now, I have four kids, and I couldn't see myself having just one child because I feel like that would be so bad. Like having siblings, having a big sister to talk to about things, having little sisters and seeing them growing up and seeing them go to college. I love having siblings. You have that connection. You can't always have, some people don't have a connection with their siblings, but I definitely have a different type of connection with each of my siblings. So I love having.
So now we heard about her teenage years. She was a obedient child, and you don't really hear that, But especially if you have Jamaican or Caribbean parents, it's not easy. So you have to be cautious. What they say? Cautious. All right? You have to be on the right side for Caribbean parents. Okay, so you're going into your 20s now. This is a time of doing what you want, and you're trying new things. So what did you throwing you in your 20s? Did you meet any persons that you fancy, or did you make life altering decisions?
All right, so Z in her 20s, I was in college in my 20s. I became I became closer to God when I was in college, believe it or not. In my college years, I joined a group called Campus Crusade for Christ, and we would have, Bible study. I joined the gospel choir. I became really close to God. I became more spiritual when I was in my 20s. And I think part of that was that trauma that we mentioned earlier, and trying to cope with, what had happened with me in the past, and how do I work through this, right? And so a lot of praying and a lot of just really working on forgiveness, right? So that was a time in my life when I was really working on how do you forgive people who you feel like did not treat you the way that you needed to be treated, that you should have been treated. So I was working on forgiveness. I became closer in my spirituality. I met a lot of friends that I still have now when I was in college, and we're very close. In fact, my oldest daughter, her godmother, we used to be roommates in college. And so with that, realization of, God and how he's, in charge and controls my life and all those things, and how, praying is a way to help get through difficult situations. That was really my focus during those years. I did, meet some significant, and I met my significant other, not from now, but one that I was in college. And actually, when I was 23, I got pregnant.
Okay.
Unexpected, but that was when I was in college, and that kind of made me kind of change paths in terms of my graduation, because I had to graduate a little bit earlier. So I kind of had to revise. I didn't revise my major, but I revised the program I was in, and I had to continue at a later date to become a teacher in a teaching program in New York. But basically, I had to finish a little bit earlier, and I walked across the stage with my pregnant belly, my 17-year-old. So that was a time in my life where, a lot of things just changed in terms of me finding myself and who I was, and how I wanted to live my life. And also, bringing a child into the world and deciding that I'm bringing a child into the world, and I'm going to pray through it, and, God's going to help me get through all of it. And now I have not only myself to take care of, but I also have, my little daughter to take care of. So that was a big decision that I made, and I'm glad I made that decision. And so that's basically what happened during those years.
Oh, okay. So, eventful 20s.
Yes, eventful 20s.
With school, your daughter, your boyfriend at that time. How did you manage and still able to finish school and work?
Yeah, I was working. Mainly, I was working on campus. I had an on-campus job, so it was a lot of work, but I had to juggle. Well, while I was in college, I had to juggle, working on campus and also going to school. But like I said, I finished early. So basically, what happened, I had to move into an apartment with said person and my daughter, and I had to work, and I had to work a lot to make money to support her and all those kind of things. So it was hard to just have to take care of someone else besides myself, and I had to be responsible for her in all ways, paying for daycare and food and shelter and all those things. So it basically, taught me more about responsibility, obviously, and taught me more about myself and what I wanted for myself. And in that time, her father and I separated because it was definitely not a good situation. So in that time, it ended up being just me and her, and we were just like best friends that whole time. It was just us two. Wherever we went, it was the two of us. We slept in the same bed. We were just the two of us. It was just us. And so I was a single mom, for some time at that time, and I just had to push through it. I had to pray through it. I had to have faith through it. I had to be positive through it. There were times when I broke down, but got to get back up again. So that's what happened. I got my degree. And then eventually I went back to school, so that I could become a teacher. And a lot of times when I was back in school, she was right there with me on the campus, right there in the chair next to me. But I made it. But I made it.
So it's inspiring. A lot of persons drop out of school just because of a child, because they do not have their support. Some will toughen it out, and others do not have that fortitude to keep going. But as you heard, Z is one tough lady. She knows what she wanted, and she dug in her heels and said, I will be a teacher. And she finished her course, and she is a teacher today. And with a child in tow, you can be successful. Even if you have a child, life has not end for you. It might have a little detour, but there's ways to get back on track, and you can do it. You can do it. If people have done it in the past, you can do it in your future. You were able to be a teacher. You finished school, and although it was hard with having a second mouth to feed, but you were able to do it, and with all the thanks to the Lord, right? We are going into your 30s, and and what did Z want in her 30s, and did you push yourself to achieve what you need and want?
Yeah. I in my late 20s actually is when I met my husband, who I'm married to right now. So in my late 20s, I actually got married, and that's what I wanted. Right? I wanted to. Originally, I didn't want to get married because of the situation that I experienced before. But after getting to know my husband a lot more, I realized that I did want to marry him. We did get married, and I also said I didn't want to have any more kids. But then, learning more about my husband, learning more about him and his level of responsibility and his desire to have children, and my praying, and we came together and we ended up having 3 more children. And so that's what we wanted, right? And so I feel like with me, whenever I have a goal to accomplish in life, I make a vision board. I write down what I want to do, and it may not, the success that I get, it may not look the way I want it to look. It may not be a straight road, right? It might have some zigzags, it might have some U-turns, you might have to go in different directions. But I feel like as long as you're able to take steps toward that goal, then you're successful. And I would, we wanted to buy a house. We tried the first time, it didn't work out for us. We kept trying. We ended up buying a house. We have a house now for our family. And so, things are not always going to be easy, right? Things are not always going to come right when you want them, or, but it's in God's time. And I really, really, really believe that it happens in God's perfect timing. And so in my 30s, still, I make goals, I set goals, I teach my children to set goals, and, one step at a time. You have your action plan, and you just keep going for it. You may have to try a different strategy, but I feel like if there's a will, there's a way. And so that's the motto that I have, and so I'm always setting goals, and I'm always trying to crush them.
Okay, and yes, that sounds so wonderful. And isn't she just encouraging you to keep pushing? And yes, your trauma will stay with you, but you do not let it bury you. You're encouraging me as you go towards that 40. We are going to that.
Yeah.
Right. But we can meet 39 first. As we go to the last year of our 30s, what do you pray for yourself and your husband and your children for the future?
I just finished my 14th year of teaching. And one of the things I love about teaching is that I teach students in middle school and high school, and I can always tell, especially my young ladies, my story. And my story has always been an inspiration to them, and just it helps to motivate them to keep going no matter what their situation is. Because a lot of times you see young girls going through certain things and they feel like there's nobody that can relate to them, right? And
Yeah.
so that story my story is a powerful story. There's a lot more in-depth detail. It's a very powerful story. And I feel like even with my own children, right? This is what I want them to know. I want them to know that no matter what obstacles you face in life, you can always push forward and work towards getting back up again, and just, that resilience is important, and that it's not going to be easy, right? I try to teach my children that things are not always going to be easy, but you can always pray, and you can always stay positive, right? And just take things one step at a time. And so what I wish for my family, my husband and my children, is peace. What I wish for them is patience. And what I wish for them is confidence, confidence that whatever you decide you want to do for yourself, towards that, you can accomplish it.
Yes, and that is what we need to hear, especially in this time, because a lot of persons are depressed. They do not believe in their self, or their environment is not encouraging for them. So to hear you say this is a good motivator for them. Right now, after hearing all of that wonderful advice that we needed, we are going into a game. And I love games because Z is so interesting, and she have a lot of different hobbies and interests. I really didn't know what to choose, but I know she is a dedicated mother. So we will do a mother questionnaire. Number one, what makes mommy you happy?
Oh, that's easy. What makes mommy happy is peace and quiet.
Ah, yes,
I
yeah,
like times that I can take a rest, take a break, because being a mom, especially a mother of four, is a lot of work. And so, one, if my kids are happy, I'm happy. And two, if I can get a break, just to get some self-care and just to get some peace of mind, even if it's a 10-minute break, that makes me happy.
yes, that sounds, yes, as all mothers should feel. Well, for me as a mom, what makes me happy? Well, of course, yes, your children. My children makes me happy, and doing YouTube. Yeah, doing all of the social things, the podcast, everything. Yeah. So, and the most important is having time with Yahweh. The morning, afternoon, and night, just having time with Him, because it's Him that have me with my family. So that's what makes me happy. Okay, number two. What are you as a mom really good at?
As a mother, it's motivating my kids. I'm good at organizing, keeping everything in order. And those are the main two things, because I'm good at organizing and I'm good at motivating them to stay positive.
Oh, yeah, that is good. For me, my husband would say being miserable, but no, he is a miserable one. But I can say listening to people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm a counselor anyway, so I love talking to people, listening to people, and helping them to find the best in their life. Now, what is your favorite thing to do?
My favorite thing to do as a mom would be traveling with my kids.
Traveling.
Go, go to a different go and enjoy the rides and the beach and all those things. I like to travel with my kids and have fun with them. I like to see them have fun.
Traveling. With 4 children. Traveling.
Destination is fun, I promise you. When we finally get there, it's fun.
My favorite thing to do is, well, now because of my situation being paralyzed, my favorite thing to do is getting up in the morning
Right.
and just doing anything because I could be dead.
It's a blessing.
Fa- favorite thing, getting up and doing anything. Yes. Okay. Number 4, what is your favorite food as a mother to feed your family?
Oh, okay.
Not your own favorite food, but your favorite to feed your family.
My favorite food to feed my kids or my whole family.
The whole family.
Okay, so I guess I could say baked ziti. So it's like ground turkey with penne pasta with cheese. You mix it up with tomato sauce. You bake it in the oven, and it's one pot meal.
Well, that's interesting. I thought she would say ackee and sawfish. Well, now I don't cook, and even before I don't like cooking.
Oh,
My husband and my daughter, they are chefs. They love to cook. But when I used to cook, the Chinese and Japanese, they're ramen, and they have a lot of different things in it. I have it right. I used to cook that. When I used to eat ramen, I used to cook ramen like that. So they will always love it with the leek and the egg and they're but in different types of meat because we don't use the pork and things so with the broth in it. So they love that. I love cooking that too. The last question is,
right. Last question.
yes, what makes you proud as a mother?
What makes me proud is my children's achievements. In school, they work hard. They get high marks. They're always on the honor roll. They're always getting awards for different subjects. And my kids come home and I ask them how was school, and they tell me about their good moments and the things that they're proud of. And then I'm proud of them for that. I'm proud of them for pushing through in school, for asking questions when they don't know. And they've always made me proud with their graduations, with their ceremonies, and with their studies, the report cards. I have no complaints in terms of, the marks that they make in school, and they try really hard. And also, when you have a mom that's a teacher, it's kind of hard for you to get around. It's kind of hard to get around school. So, I'm proud of them for trying their best in school. And I always tell them, you may not always get, the mark that you want, but as long as you try your best, you know that what you need to improve on, I'm proud of you for that. I'm proud of you for that. So I'm proud of their accomplishments in school, and I'm proud of them for just, having their voice and being who they are when they're in school.
That is wonderful. Yeah. And for me, I'm proud of, yes, raising 2 God-fearing children and respectful children. Yeah. You have heard about Z. You heard her story of a little sorrow, but you cannot look at her and see sorrow. No, because she did not let it define her life. She has have 4 blessings from the Lord that as we heard, she is so proud of. She have a wonderful supporting husband, and we're always glad to hear families being this close and dedicated as Zee's family is. So, Zee, thank you very, very, very much for giving me a little piece of your time, sharing with others. So I am so thankful that you was able to come and share on the show today.
It was great to be here and to hear from you as well, Rochelle. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. And it's nice that you have come around and watched this show. You come and support Zee as she talk with you and share her nuggets of her life. So until we meet again next week, bye bye.